if you want to see two guys that make the opening ceremony of the Olympics seem pretty normal, go to YouTube/NTTFGPOD and subscribe to our channel. I'm Rock.
And I'm Archie.
Well, our opinions, they might not matter to some, but...
What are you doing in there?
It's a podcast.
Immature, crass, trashy. And those are their good qualities. These poor schmucks are a couple of IQ points away from eating paste. But when it comes to music, sports, and comedy, well, that's all they know. You're listening to
Not These Two Fucking Guys.
Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
Yo, Rock.
Yo.
Let me ask you something, dude. The Olympics. The Olympics started. U.S. is kicking ass, but the opening ceremony of the Olympics lasted for 43 days. Did you see how long it was? It was a whole day thing, like in France.
Yeah. So like, I heard about it. I read about it. I saw clips of it, but I didn't realize it was like that long.
Right. I started in the morning, went to lunch. I came back, and then there's a fucking metal band playing. What? Gojira?
Yeah, because they're from France. Pretty cool.
Now I only know I know of them, and I only know like one song. I think it's called like Stranded. Dun, 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 dun. But I want to know what song they played. But they performed like almost like a song from the 1700s. It was
cool, right?
Asaida. I'm
Acai berry?
Acai, you know those little berries, those chocolate berries you get in a fucking. But they performed that like their
I think I had one of those things in my pliant bowl today.
They performed that with an operatic singer in the boat in the water, but they were fucking on the castle.
They're
like
in a castle, yeah.
It was a fucking medieval heavy metal European dream. It was the sickest thing I've ever seen. Standing on the wall.
Yeah, that's like one of those dreams you have when you're sick and you have a fucking high fever.
Yes.
A lot of weird shit going on.
But seriously, it was like the sickest thing I have ever seen, though. Heavy metal musicians playing on a castle. You can't like for like some type of European metal band. You can't. I don't think you can get higher than that. Playing at the Olympics in your home country, and playing on a castle. Fucking what? Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, like that's I'm gonna say that was probably a dream that the lads in Gojira had when they were kids.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited. So I'm going to see Korn here in New Jersey in September.
Without me?
In Newark. Hey, listen. You
Hey.
want to come? You come. You come
Anybody
with.
can. Got it.
Gojira is the middle act, and I think you want to see Spirit Box. They are the opener. So.
Yes. Spirit Box was fucking dope. Where are they playing?
Yeah.
They're playing Newark?
They're playing The Rock. Yeah.
So The Rock is going to The Rock.
Pretty much, yeah.
What's the date? Do you know offhand or not?
I want to say September. I don't know.
All right. We'll get there.
Middle, late September. We'll get there.
But yo, cheers to the women's Olympic team. They're just they're medaling it up. I mean, they're killing it.
That's awesome.
Everybody's killing it right now. So go USA.
But basketball, right? You're talking about?
Sorry. Cheers to the women's gymnastic team.
Ah, all right. Simone Biles. I know that.
Yeah, Simone Biles hurt even fucking, I think her calf. She hurt her calf and she's still crushing it. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Correction. Cheers to the women's Olympic team. Which sport would that be, Arch?
There we go.
Yeah, but I think it's pretty dope. So I just wanted to give a shout out because metal is never on the forefront, let alone opening up the Olympics. So I give that to the metal group.
pretty cool.
Yo, Rock.
What's up?
Oh, our guest tonight is someone who helped pioneer MMA into the mainstream, from the Ultimate Fighter house to the octagon, now to the silver screen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast, one of the toughest tough guys in the tough guy business, the Dean of Mean, Keith Jardine. What's up, bro?
What's up, fucking guys?
How are you? What's up,
Yeah,
pal?
all right.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot. So before we started, you were mentioning you're in Albuquerque, right?
Yep.
We're in Jersey via Zoom. Here we are.
Yeah.
And hands on with your movie. I mean, if you want to
Yeah.
rolling into that, or
I know you guys know that, but yeah, I've been I was an actor for a while. Still an actor. I mean, that's my thing. But goddamn, I've gotten into writing and directing. I don't know how that happened, but here I am. I got a great movie that's almost done, and we're looking to release it here. We're looking to be finished final with the cut August 30th. So we're close, man.
When was the start date to that?
You know, that'll be almost an exact year from concept to finish.
Wow.
It's the fastest. I'll put it like how fast the product get done. Like, I don't know how much we want to get into this part of it, but I got into writing big time. I didn't know I was any good at it. In fact, I could barely write an email. You know, a business email. You know, it's not grammar and all that stuff's not really my thing. And I was more of a math guy. But so I started writing. Like, I know dialogue from acting, and like I studied that, and then I started writing, and then I discovered really soon that I was actually pretty good at it. I had a script that some A-list actors wanted to do, and I started learning that from that, because A-list actors want to do that. I got my other scripts read, and but the thing is, I was giving away all my parts, so I started writing so I could, like, people don't cast me for anything but, you know, like, you know, thug number 2 or the heavy that gets beat by the baby face or whatever, you know. But so
Yeah,
I wanted. I'm a good actor. I like to be regular. I can be regular people. I can be the cop or the fireman or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I started writing those things, but I was giving my parts away to other actors, because you learn in this game that you need to get a movie sold and made. You need to have an actor that brings the money, and they all have a value. Like, I have a money value, which is almost nothing. But like, say, anyways, an actor could bring, like, they'll put, hey, your value is $4 million. We put you in this movie. I know if it's cost $4 million, we'll get our money back just because you're attached to it. And all the big actors have that. So anyway, so I wrote big scripts and all that. So I needed to write something small. So what I did is I went back and I did a short, Paso 1155. I did that 2 years ago and released it. And I was a lead in it, the co-lead in it, and I wrote, directed it, produced it, designed it, everything. And that was a 4-time Academy Award qualifier and won a lot of awards and all that. So
Wow. It's awesome.
yeah, that became a good but business card for me.
Yeah.
But then I got this other movie that's got a A-list guy attached to it, and a production company, a studio told me, they covered the script and said, yes, we want to do this and all that, but who's directing it and who's producing it? Because it certainly ain't going to be me. So I decided, we were in SAG strike last year, so I decided to, well, let's do something really cheap that I can do, and I'll do it during the strike, because I can get, like, the best crew, like crew that works on $50 million movies. I can get these people, and we're on strike, nothing's moving, and so if I can get a waiver and I could do it, then I'm good. So in August a year ago, I had the idea. I wrote the beginning and the end of it, and it's called Killer Kafe. And I, man, before, just the beginning and the end was written, and I started raising money, and we just rolled right into. I was going to shoot it in November, but it ended up being December. I shot it right before the end of the year, right up against Christmas when the year ends. That's how I got it done. And that now with editing, it's pretty surreal that like today I kind of had a morning off, and I was like, that's why like I can do podcasts now, because I just like all my time has just been on that, like any time wasted, is I just need to be directed. I'm very focus oriented that way.
So
You
Anyway,
feel
that's a really long way to tell where I'm at
no.
right now.
It's okay.
So
That's what we're here for.
So let's rewind it just a minute. I want to obviously get to your career before we're off today. But how did you, after you retire from MMA, how did you actually get into movies to begin with? To even the acting part before you even got into the writing and that stuff.
Yeah, that was after I fought Chuck Liddell. I was in I think it was 2007. I was in a small town, and 2 days after that, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 2 days after that, I was in a small town in Mexico seeing my doctor, because it felt like I just got out of a car accident, just
Oof.
doing a checkup. And in that little small town was Brian Taylor and Mark Neveldine, and a cafe that I went to, and they did Cranks and they did Gamer and all that, and like, hey, we're doing this film in Albuquerque. Saw your fight. They're all extra nervous. Would you mind coming and like reading for us or something? And like, yeah, sure, man. I always want to do movies.
Yeah.
And they put me in their movie Gamer, and I got my SAG card from that. Best thing ever happened to me.
Very cool.
That's awesome. That's really.
Then I
cool.
did a bunch of cheesy MMA movies and things like that, and then I got into stunts, and yeah.
Now, was that something that you ever? I mean, when you're a fighter, are you thinking about life after fighting? Because obviously there's a shelf life to that. Was that ever on your radar?
Yeah, in a weird way. Since I was a kid, I've always wanted to be in movies. Since I was in a small town in Oregon, and I didn't know what that meant, and how just like that was my escapism. I loved movies, man. And you go into that world and you come out a different person with a new perspective, and I always loved that. And I got really into independent films, and I love that. And so I just always knew there was I always knew I wanted to do that, but I never knew what it meant really.
Mm-hmm.
So I forgot what your question was.
No, if you ever envisioned doing stuff like that after.
Oh yeah, so when you're fighting, it's hard to have a vision of life after fighting. In fact, if you pay attention to it, a lot of fighters that actually start getting into movies and the life after fighting, that's when they kind of go downhill, because it's really you just got to live that warrior life and just everything for this and have that edge to you. And once you start thinking about, I don't know, you almost get vulnerable.
When you were sorry, Rock.
Okay.
Now, when you were young, I believe, right? You moved out to LA.
Yeah, actually, yeah, right on. My freshman year of high school.
So, was there any type of? I know you probably didn't think freshman in high school I'm going to go be a movie star, but I mean, did you have some type of feeling, knowing that like you weren't going to some small town, you were going to LA?
Yeah,
there had to have been some type of feeling inside you that like I'm going to where shit happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like you always hear the stories about, man, somebody's in a cafe and get noticed or something like that. But I was so into football and sports and all that. That was it for me, man. I was wrestling and football, and that's all I lived for back then. And
Gotcha.
and going and all that. But yeah, I really didn't know what that meant. All the insecurities too,
Yeah.
If I was smart, like if I was telling somebody, no, like, I went to theater and done all those things. No, I was an athlete. I couldn't go to theater,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you I guess get the acting bug, as they say. You're into movies, you're in TV shows. Talk about what that experience is like when you're doing that for your first couple of times shooting. What's going through your mind? What are you feeling? Or did you ever feel like, oh shit, okay, this is I can do this?
Yeah. I got training in fire. So it's like some MMA movies. Like the first time I ever did dialogue ever with anybody was on set. Never practicing and everything. Like I had to memorize them.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember I got to walk through this wall and I had to walk through this door and have conversation with two different people, and like the weirdest thing. You're talking and you hear yourself talking like so loud, and it was just like, I'm sure it was awful. And but I had new lines every day, and I just practiced that way. But I was awful and I wasn't ready. But what happened for me is I had a point in the early 2010s, I think, when I realized, well, first of all, I need this to work. I'm all out of money from fighting. Like that didn't last long, you know. All these trips to LA doing auditions and all that, that's where all my money went. And then
Sure.
something's got to happen, right? I got this I got this call. I was working out at the gym. And my manager says, "Hey, can you be at LA today? Like they're having trouble casting this role." And I went out there, and it was a cold read. I didn't get the lines until I got there, and I go into this room, and Cassandra was there, and they type out my lines, and I'm kind of dyslexic too, so I can't really, like, I'm not really good at reading off paper, right? Especially a moment like that. So I go in the next room and I study it, and I say, "Hey, can I get a minute?" And I say, I go in there, and I get the role, and it was a Paul Thomas Anderson film with Joaquin Phoenix, Eric Weiss. If you guys know
Wow.
Paul Anderson, he's like the Kira Kurosawa of America. He's like the director's director guy in the modern
Nice.
world. So that's what started giving me, all right, Keith, he's not just like a dumb fighter. He's an actual actor and all that. And so what I was saying, what led to that is in the early those times, like it started clicking for me when I said, like, I'm running out of money, and I really want to be an actor, but I'm training for acting like once a week, like maybe twice a week. I have a little acting group I'll go read lines with, and whatever. And like, I'm not putting in time. It's like you go to an audition, there's like, you know, there'd be depending on where you're in audition in LA, there could be 20 guys in that room, and there was 100 guys earlier trying to read for the same spot.
Yeah.
And all these guys are just trying to pay their rent too, you know? Like these guys are all
Sure.
professional. And but like, man, I need to give it what is due, and I need to train every day. And I started just doing that, man. I would just print up side or whatever I could read. I would just record myself doing lines every day, and I started getting good at it.
That's cool. That's cool. And at that point, it is almost like I would say, right, the fighter's mentality that I mean, you got to depend on yourself. There's other actors in the scene, but if you got to do it yourself.
Yeah, you're right. Depending on yourself, and that goes into like nobody gives a fuck about you, right? Then no one's waiting to discover you. No one cares about you. Like they only care about you if you can help them, and you got to get yourself where you have value, where you can help other people, or else you're not going to make it.
And one instinct, fighting probably helped you for that. I mean,
fighting is suffering, right? And acting, and then more like into writing. Oh my God, I'll get into that. But fighting is suffering, right? Here's a cool thing. We talk about MMA. What I love about MMA, this is way aside, but MMA is the only sport in the world, I think, not boxing, not anything else, where it's like the cliche about the guy that wants it more, the hungrier guy, that guy over talent, that guy can win. And that's what's unique about MMA, man, is we're talking about people that start looking forward in their career and they start to lose it. What they lose is that hunger, man, that invincibility. Like you look at guys like Clay Guida, talent wise, like I love the guy to death, but he doesn't really excel at anything except for hustle and belief in himself. And he's a mediocre jiu-jitsu guy on big world standards, and he'll go tap out a black belt.
Yeah.
And it's just because that toughness, that will to win, that all that stuff is there, and it trumps everything. It's just like when the chips are down, like if you react before the other person, then you're way ahead of that other person just because you're tougher than that person, because you're both dying in that ring, you know.
Yeah.
So the two things that you did, fighting and acting, you got to be all in. It's not like you really can't do it part-time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you want to do, right? And that's when I started doing MMA. Is I was finished. I was coaching college football, and I just covered Greg Jackson before that was anything over here, and I was like, you know, I want to do this. I don't know what it means. Well, there was no real hope or desire to go to the UFC because that wasn't that big then. I mean, there was a hope there, but not almost like acting. It was just too far away. I can't really see that. So I started training with Greg Jackson, and it was like I had to talk with myself, like, I've always been good at wrestling. I've always been good at football. I've always got anything athletically, whatever I try to do, I've always excelled at. But really, I didn't get as far as I want. Like I had this weird idea that I'd play in the NFL, like, which is just like stupid, right? Because I'm too small and too slow. Um, but then I talked about like I've never really given 100% to anything in my life. Where you like forsake everything else. Like this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to see how hard I can drive to this goal. And that's what I did with MMA right away. And I'll give it a year, and I'll give it 100% what I can do for this year. And my motorcycle, all the things, all the going out, all the things that I would do as distraction. Even having friends that didn't fit into the plan, like I wouldn't let them in. And so I gave 100% to it, and it became this. And that's when I had a conversation about acting. I need to give 100% to it. And then that became writing, where 2 hours every day, no matter what, I spent time writing for the last, I don't know, 7 years, 6 years. I don't know. I got to do that math. Time flies, man. Yeah.
So talk about that, right? So getting into writing, like you said that you don't necessarily, I guess, write well, or your grammar, however you're describing yourself. What gets you to do something that's where like you got to kind of be on for that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I read a lot of scripts, and I see what's getting made, and I know what I like in movies, and I know dialogue. One thing, like I said, I spent all those hours, 10,000 hours studying acting. I know dialogue. And so I just started writing. I just put two people on paper and had them start talking to each other. And that's still how I write. I put two people on paper and have them start talking to each other, and one thing becomes the next. But then that's where the suffering comes in play. Like writing is suffering, just like training, fighting is suffering. Is because every day you beat yourself up, and you might get one line or go backwards, or it might be all garbage, and you got to attack it the next day. You got to attack it the next day. If you don't keep attacking it, then you don't have anything, right? It's hard to explain. Like I have this entity that I'm trying to create, and I'm trying to turn into a script in a movie that I have in my mind. I don't know how to do it. I'm not really particularly trained, and I'm just going to chip away at it. I'm going to chip away at it, and all I know is if I go in one direction, I like it. If I go in another direction, I don't like it. So I need to go back and go in the direction that I like it. And that's pretty much the worst way to write a script, but that's been my approach for the most part. And that suffering to get in the trenches every day. And it's really similar to fighting too, in a way, because once you're done, the first time I had somebody read my script, like, man, fighting here naked in the ring in front of, millions.
Vulnerable.
Naked, like,
Very
vulnerable. Yep. And when you send your script to somebody too, like these are my words, these are my feelings. And you can't write a script without giving part of yourself away in that.
I hear you in a way. I could not relate, but I understand, because, like, as I told you before, I'm a video editor. So if I edited a video, someone gave me raw footage, and I took that and I made my own story, and I sent it to them, and they were like, and you're like,
Yeah.
you're like, but I put time and effort into this.
Yeah.
It's not really what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So I can imagine, you're pouring your heart out, you're writing it pen to pad and giving it to someone, and it's like, here, like, you're excited, you're happy.
Yeah.
This is something that you gave birth to. So it's, I can imagine it being very vulnerable state, and
now the stress is there.
Don't fucking kill me.
Yeah, right. The stress there. I had people still like, oh, that sucks. This is like some. I sent a script to one of my writing mates, and he's like, this is not even a first draft. This is like basically this is like film school stuff and all that.
Yeah.
I get
And
that.
like,
I get that.
the one thing that sucks about the whole situation is that you kind of can't really go back to, I'll fucking smack the shit out of you if you say anything. You can't really go back to that.
He could.
He could. What?
You know what though? Like, as for confidence in anything, as a fighter, that's always there though, friend.
Yeah.
Like if I'm acting, if I'm in a room or whatever, it's like Man, I'll fuck all you guys up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll
Do me a
I'll go to
favor.
jail. I don't care.
Do me a favor. You're gonna need to call some of your friends right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
That's fantastic.
yeah, there's always that.
What's your, if you could talk us a little bit through your writing process? Is it like, do you have like these like just little sporadic ideas here and there, and then you write to that, or is it just you conceptualize one big thing and then kind of attack it in parts?
Every script has been different. Besides the thing, like 'cause I got to get a premise for what's going on, and I hate a lot of plot, and I hate a lot of when you watch a movie and it's really good for the 15 minutes, and now we're locked into this plot, and we kind of predict what's going to happen and all that. And
Yeah.
like I like
Yes.
that 15 minutes where like I was learning about who this guy is and all that, but now he's got to go to California to deliver a package to his mom. Like okay, and then people
Yeah.
are after him and all the things. Like I like it really subtle, and I write that way too. So my writing process, what I do. It's a little bit different now because my writing process has become editing, which is I get up and I have my morning routine until uh 7. I try to be started at 8, and I'm in a coffee shop at 8. Um, I'm trying not to scroll on my phone or look at websites and all that. So usually it'll take about 8:30, 45, and I'll get started, and that caffeine buzz hits, and I'll put 2 or 3 hours in that first session of creativity, and it's hard to be creative after that. So then everything after that is just like thinking about it for the rest of the day. And that's where I've been hard because I like to write scenes and really cool scenes because you all do that. You guys are movie fans, and like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if
Yeah.
this happens? Like
Sure.
this morning, actually, I wrote, this is one of the first times I got back to writing. So I've been editing, and I like, let's write something interesting right now. Like I've always been fascinated in the Blade Runner world. So, right, the
Yeah.
neon signs,
Yeah.
the futuristic, it's dark, it's wet, it's damp, and let's just put a guy in this world, and he gets off on a train, and he's walking in this world, and what happens to him? He runs to this person, and goes and eats in this place, and has this weird conversation with this person, and goes. I just sometimes I'll just play around with that, and maybe it'll lead to something, maybe it won't.
It's almost like a process because we interview like a lot of comedians and stand up and their writing process is they'll write every day, but it might not be a joke. Like if there might be something in there, it might be an idea, it might be a premise, might be a punchline, might be something. But
Yeah,
the process is that you're writing though, and something's coming out of you.
that's cool, man. I have the most respect for comedians too, because in this world even more with acting and writing what we said like that, but that's like almost how fighting is the essence of all athletics. Comedy, stand-up comedy is the essence of all performance. I think is like you're just standing up, talk about being naked in front of people with your words. Like there's nothing more than that, man.
You're going up in front of people saying, "I'm funny." Now listen to me. I'm funny,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm funny.
Eh,
This is what I'm here for. You go
yeah,
you go to Exxon to get you to fix your car. You're coming
yeah,
here to watch me. I'm gonna make you laugh.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah, we have the same respect for that. Like as we were talking about before, we're been in a band, together for years that you kind of have, 4 or 5 other guys around there with you. And where it differs for us is, and like for me, I write a song, right? I can write a song. It doesn't have to make sense to everybody as long as my interpretation of this is what it is.
100%.
Your script has to make sense, kind of, right? Or else people are like, what are we talking about here?
But I hope you have a different idea of it than I do, though.
No,
Like, yeah, what you said, like somebody that listens to your song, and means something different for them than it means to you.
sure,
I
sure.
really enjoy that.
That's
But
awesome.
the thing
Really
is,
cool.
so it's fun. It's funny because I could fuck up, but the bass player and the drums are still on, and it's like, we'll get by. You're a stand-up comedian. You fuck up,
Yeah,
nowhere
Yeah.
to go, nowhere to
Yeah.
hide. If you're a fighter in the ring, it's just you.
nah,
Right.
that's not really true though. That's why fighting's. I had to overcome a lot from acting of self-confidence and nerves and all that, because fighting, like I was a notoriously slow starter. Me and Cowboy Cerrone have a lot in common with that. Because the thing with me was like, okay, now I get hit, whatever. Now I'm in a fight, and now it's cool. But like I can fuck up all the way and like turn away. Like I got Wilson Govia beat the tar out of me in the first round. Like it would have been like a 10-7 round maybe, but I was able to turn that around and win that fight. You know, that's what's cool about fighting. But reading for a role fucking in LA with all those actors, some of them you recognize and all that, and you go on the casting director and go, and it's like you recorded the casting producers maybe whatever, and like you may get a second shot if you're lucky, but you have to
Yeah.
be pretty good to get your second shot at that read. So I had to overcome a lot of like faking it at that point because we're all faking it, but I had to fake it a lot better at that point.
See, I think
I'd be walking in going, "Hey, I know you. I know you."
so I think
Yeah.
that takes so much balls because the people that
You know what they used
you're
to do?
auditioning.
I'll cut you off real quick. You know what they used to
Yeah.
do to me? You think I know you. People would know me too, and I know after a while I knew it was on purpose too. They would start talking to me about my fights and stuff like that
Uh-huh.
because it gets me. I knew that they knew that would get me out of my game because now I'm in the whatever fighter mode,
Got,
whatever
yeah.
Wow.
tunneled into this character that I'm trying to go be.
Fucking
Anyway, I
sabotaging
don't know why
people
that
at
just popped into my
auditions and
head for
shit.
some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All I know is if I was a fellow actor, Keith isn't the guy I'd be fucking with at the audition.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Back to smack the shit out of you.
yeah.
But those people, so like you said, like the casting director, whoever you're reading in front of, their job is to judge the shit out of you, right? It's not like a casual conversation. It's like they're judging it. That's got to be the most unnerving thing in the world. I don't know.
100%. And because their job is to say no, right? Because I mean, they want you to be good. They want to have somebody to show the director, but
Yeah.
it's also like I'm on a script. I got studio coverage and I get passed on that. That means everything to me because you send your script to a studio. They're the person that reads it. Their job is to say no, like because they say it's good and it goes up the ladder, and then it's awful. It doesn't get made. Whatever. They're the ones getting fired. So they'd
Yeah,
much
they're
rather
putting their name on it. Yeah.
Yep. Saying the casting director. Yeah, that's why most of acting, believe it or not, is getting the casting directors behind you and having them know you by your name, because they like, especially here in New Mexico, all the casting directors know me. Like, they'll vouch for me to the director. Like, yeah, Keith, he'll do the job. He's done this. Like, you can trust him and all that. And
Yeah.
that's everything in this business
Nice.
until you bring money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they want to, if they're not getting paid out of it, and that's
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk about your movie that's coming out. From top
Feel
to bottom, I
Kafe.
want to hear about this.
Man, I don't know how much I want to let out. It's
Whatever you feel comfortable letting out.
No,
Let
no,
it out that
I
way.
will. I will. I'm thinking about it. I need to have like a creative meeting with my producers and talk about this because there is twists and there's a lot of twists, and it's definitely a high concept thriller slasher, psychological thriller kind of thing. Uh, this guy is just in a downward spiral, and I got an amazing fucking actor too, man. And he pulled it off, dude. And at first he's having fun killing all these people and slasher and whatever, and we're rooting for him and all that, but then just like the world gets really old, and he's dying to get out of here, and it kind of reminds you of the Joker and a little bit of his descent into madness. And I need to sell it better because I don't there's if I could just tell you one thing, you would love it.
No. I don't want you to ruin it.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of twists at the end, and the payoff is huge and it's amazing and it's all that. Um, I shot this all nights here in pretty much one location. I had an actor that was just phenomenal. That he studied for it for like 3 months before we started, and I gave him the original barely concept. And he's all, "Yes, I'm in," and he just took it and he flew. Man, it's going to really surprise some people, and there's a chance we get a good theatrical run on this. Because of the genre and because of what it is. I don't have the big money actors, but I have an amazing actor, Brendan Fair, that he made it in the original Roswell series, and then
Okay, cool.
came to Mexico to be one of the leads in Night Shift, a medical drama. And he's he's done really well for himself, but he almost got caught in a niche of Hallmark type movies and all that. And this is going to be something that really breaks him out, and he's going to win awards for this, and it's going to be amazing.
That's so awesome. And you said from concept to finish it was 1 year.
To right now, yeah, we'll finish August 30th, and that sometime in August was when I first had the idea. And then I'm using this to launch my other movies, which I don't talk things up. I'm going to release. You guys should see my short. Like I'm going to release it probably next week.
Definitely send it over or wherever we can get it. Yes, absolutely.
I'll send it, and then I'll release it. I think I'm going to release it. Do a launch maybe a week from now, probably. How's that? And but even that, like I never really I won the awards and all that, but that's in the short film category, which short films is mostly. There's so many short film festivals for films that it doesn't mean a lot to get awards for your movies. But then I was a 4-time Academy qualifier, not awards in those festivals, just I got selected in those festivals. It means everything to me. But anyways, I don't really talk that up. Like it's okay. Like I'm kind of embarrassed to put it out because I've gotten so much better since then.
Yeah.
This Killer Kafe is going to be fucking great, man.
Is this something that you would like? I don't know anything about the movie business, so is this something that would be like if you got good traction with this? Is this like would you try to sell this to Netflix or try to sell it to Prime or try?
Killer Kafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, my short that I'm going to release. I have the feature of that written, and I'm packaging that to make that Killer Kafe. I took a big risk and shot it without any pre-sale, which now me and my producer friends are really happy that we did that because we got we seen the end project, less the music, and we're happy about it. So now we have viewings with companies like Lionsgate that wants to see it. And then we'll start talking about selling. I want to get it out by August so I can premiere at South by Southwest Film Festival. That's the goal. And we don't know. We would like to have some sort of limited theatrical run. Like, have you seen A Violent Nature?
No,
I have not. No.
It's a similar. It got a good theatrical run earlier like a month ago. A really good theatrical run. It's the same kind of concept.
That looks a little eerie. Ooh.
It's from the villain's perspective. Yeah. Anyway, so that is kind of a mirror what that did in a lot of horror film.
Dope. Awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. And then I'll launch my other ones, and then yeah. So a whole new world. I'm learning every day, guys. Like I'm doing this all myself. I mean, I got a great team behind me, especially shooting. My partner Jürgen Heinemann is my DP, and he'll always be my DP. And that's one reason why I did this, because director of photography, because I don't want to do another movie with, say, Lionsgate or say someone else, and they say, okay, we'll let you do this, but you have to use our guys.
Yeah.
Then you try to compromise your own what you wanted.
Yeah, and these people, this team I have here in New Mexico, all these people, there's so many of them that have invested in me, and have believed in me, and are helping me launch that. Then as I go, I want to bring them along with me. I don't want to just like, all right, thanks guys, I'm moving on to LA. I'm not even going to shoot here anymore. That comes from martial arts too. I've become very, very loyal. Like even my actor, he was the actor that I chose for Killer Kafe. He did me a favor and helped me out with my short because my lead actor dropped out a week before, and I worked with him on night shift, and I called him up, hey, would you be interested in this thing? Yeah, sure, let me read it. And so he jumped on a week's notice and did 4 grueling nights of night work to get my short done. So
nice.
Cool.
Yeah. So he's the first thing.
How did you get with this network of people around you, like in New Mexico? Like how did you just being in the scene or what?
Yes, exactly. I'm very, very lucky to be. Another thing with MMA led me to Albuquerque, right? I moved from a small town in New Mexico to Albuquerque, trained with Greg Jackson, and that's when the thing here. But film industry is huge. Like this year, it's probably better than any other city in America. What has been done in New Mexico? It's one of the biggest um, film cities. So there's a great crew here, and they work on $50 million movies, bigger than that, And but they're always never really the department heads, right? There's a lot of like, for example, my DP, who is amazing, but he's always first camera or steady cam or something like that. He's done DP on some other things, but not always, right? So I'm trying to be like, okay, I'm using all New Mexico's talents. I'm going to make you guys like, you guys are going to be the heads of your department, and we're going to kill it. Um, yeah, and I just got lucky, honestly, because of fighting, people know who I am, and that makes it really easy.
Yeah.
I've worked on so many films here. I've probably worked on, I don't know, I guess 50 projects here. And so you
Wow.
get to know everybody, and they get to know you, and
Yeah.
it's really cool.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, right. Like I
They're
look at
gonna
my IMDb, like probably with stunts and acting, I've probably been involved with 100 projects.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
They're gonna call them Hollywood Jardines.
Nah, no, I'm just a good working actor slash stuntman. That's all right now.
Nice. Got it.
Soon
So,
to be known writer, director, and actor, writer, director.
that's fantastic. So as you're making Killer Cafe, are you doing other projects as well? Like as far as having income coming, because you're putting a lot out and you're putting your effort into this. Does that ever?
Acting,
Does that?
I'll pick up jobs every once in a while. Like I worked on an Ari Aster film this year, and that was really good for me. I'm working on Killing Faith, the Western that's starting up here. Like I got a few days on that next month. I still work. I did a stunt job on a McConaughey movie earlier this year too.
Awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, like whenever, believe me, goddamn, like I'm living off of yeah, yeah, like I'm all invested in this career.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's got to
funny.
work. Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
When you were fighting, obviously you're one of my favorite fighters, and I'm like, I don't see you around the scene, obviously, or like at
Yeah.
at UFCs, or like involved with like camps, or coaching or that kind of thing. I'm like, hey, what's he doing? Obviously, you've immersed yourself significantly into this movie stuff, that's awesome. That's really awesome.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Like Jodie Escobar, my partner, she fought a little bit. So I got to see a little bit of what the new UFC has become. Um, Certainly is a lot different than the world I fought in.
How would you differ? How would you explain to the people out there from where you came from until now, the UFC?
Just a big business right now. Thank God it was. And when we were doing it, um, well, I was on season 2 of the reality show. And it was we were all working together for one cause to make this sport work, because we were fighting when there was no money. Like my first fight was $200. I got paid. And we were just all like, it's like a family. It was a real family atmosphere. I knew everybody that worked in the office, production office. I knew everybody by name, and they knew me. And the hey, like we're on fight trip, you go, it's gonna see your friends and all that, and it was great. And now it's definitely got a lot bigger, and it's definitely, yeah, it's definitely more of nothing bad. It's great, but it's not definitely more of a corporation, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah, there was a time, I guess, back where like you kind of almost knew every fighter on the roster. Now it's no matter how much you watch it, it's impossible to know every fighter. You know what I mean? So like it's good in a way, and it's bad in a way, as far as like
Yeah,
fandom goes for one particular fighter.
it was good for me because of that. I got whatever popularity because there wasn't that many fighters, and honestly, in those days, you were either on your way up or on your way out. You weren't kept around just because you sold tickets.
yes.
And not now, like, unfortunately, because now, like, I never would have left the UFC. I would have fought forever, and who knows what kind of brain damage I'd have, because I've always had shit. My last fight in the UFC was fight of the night. Like, always had good
Mhm.
fights. Um, yeah. So, and then also, like, I was a lot more introverted back then too. So I don't know if I would have. Now I could do it, but back then I don't know if I could have pumped myself up enough to stand out from the crowd. you got to be like a Chael Sonnen and Conor McGregor. You got to be somebody. You got to be a WWE character.
Yeah.
Sure. When you went into the Ultimate Fighter house for season 2, right? You're coming back off of season 1, which was the first one, pretty historic. So you were getting a lot of eyes on that product off the bat. Talk about we've had some fighters on that have been in the house, and talk about your experience there. You say that you were more introverted then. That had to be a weird experience than living with these guys.
So weird, yeah. Like I didn't know. Yeah, I would go disappear and hide a lot too. Um, uh, just being trapped. They shut the doors, no phones, nothing. Well, I didn't have cell phones back then, anyways. I didn't. But yeah, they just locked you in this house, and you go talk to these people. That was so hard for me. And
I don't
also,
fucking talk to you.
yeah, yeah. We started playing cards and all that, but that was definitely weird for me. And being on camera all the time, that was weird. Following around all the time. Yeah, yeah. I wish I had more to bring to it. Like if I wish I wasn't so introverted that I could show more of my personality actually.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it was hard. Probably one of the hardest. This is it. I'm trying to think. It's been so long since I thought of this. As you asked me, like I'm kind of stumped. I thought it was like, and I looked at it like as if I think for 7 weeks, 7 weeks. I looked at it like I was in jail for 7 weeks. Um,
Oof.
and that's what I looked at it.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah, you're in jail, and you got your inmates, you got people that you got to make friends with, and all that. And that to me, that's what it was like.
What? Hey, Rock, wasn't it Rich Clementi who snuck in? What's that his name? Rich.
Yeah, I think he
snuck in a phone because his wife was pregnant or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And they caught the fucking phone, and they were like, "Oh," he was like, "Fuck you," like or something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
I think it was something like that. Yeah, that's got to be so weird being disconnected from life.
Hey, I just got an idea for a new tough.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Okay.
they haven't done it, and the thing with tough, right? Like, how can you change? I've really come up with this idea just right now. Uh, it's been done so many times, whatever. Like they bring interest by the coaches barely, right? Like I'm sure the ratings are good, but it does. I mean, good enough to keep doing it, but they don't do it very much because they're like, what other ideas can you do, right? That's actually
Yeah.
real and can actually do. But how about this? What if you took some random good season, like season, let's make up season 20. I don't know what that is, and you brought in all the same fighters and did it again.
That'd be very cool. Yeah, to see how people change, progress,
Yeah.
degress.
Yeah.
They still got to fight each other. They're friends, not friends. They got beefs, no beefs, whatever. But how interesting would that be, man?
That'd be
would
very
interesting.
cool.
A season where it's
Hey.
long enough where nobody's in the UFC anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Keith, they should bring back the cast of Tough 2 in the house, all of you, and make them write a fucking movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is there one fight that stands out that you're the most proud of in your career?
That really stands out. They're all special for different reasons. I was asked this the other day, and I said Quentin Jackson was. I lost that fight, but it was a good fight. I got. I'm sure he was like everyone's injured, but three weeks before that fight, I got Shane Carwin broke my nose. I was sparring up in Denver, and I broke. Yeah, Shane Carwin would just touch you, and whatever he touched. Oh my God, he was horrible.
Hands like a lunchbox.
All right, yeah, he punch you in the weirdest direction across his body, whatever, and it'll still fuck you up. But yeah, he broke my nose 3 weeks before the fight. I couldn't breathe, man. I just couldn't breathe, and I just felt like I was surviving that whole fight, and it was back and forth, and one of the judges told me he had me winning unless I didn't get but I got knocked down in the last 10 seconds. I won for that, dude. I had you winning. Douglas Crosby told me that. I'm like, oh, gee, thanks.
Thanks.
I didn't because I was just surviving, man. Like I didn't know. You get in a fight like this really close like that, and where a guy's hungry and the guys just keep coming forward, like, and you're coming forward because that's the way I am, and it's just like you start to lose track of what the score might be and all that. Like you're just fighting a real fight, and then And then so by the end, like I didn't know where I was. I know that Greg told me I should get a takedown in this round, so maybe I'm behind.
What?
So I was really rushing at the end, and he clipped me. I got knocked down the last 10 seconds. A lot of people say Chuck, that was a huge fight. That was a great fight. Like it was
Yes.
more exercise of focus than anything for me. That fight was.
Mhm.
Brandon Vera was awesome fighting in England. That was such a cool feeling. Yeah.
For me, I want to say one of my favorite fights of yours is the Forrest Griffin fight.
Oh
Because
yeah.
Forrest was like they were propping him up. He was like the golden boy, and you were an underdog in that fight, and
Sure.
man, you came through. It was just like people were shocked. I wasn't shocked. I'll tell you that
Yeah,
much.
yeah. What I remember about that fight is my self-talk. My self-talk was really good. Um, it was just pretty much, first of all, Greg said, "Okay, we're gonna take him down," and his stand-up was actually really good. And
Yeah,
Forrest doesn't look that big on camera on screen.
he's a big dude.
Yeah, man, and standing across from the ring, like he's just like a mountain of a man. That kind of like real top bodybuilding. Like, God damn, I'm supposed to take him down?
Jesus
Oh
Hell
my
no.
God.
So it turned into a kickboxing fight, and I just remember like towards the end of the round is like, oh man, he's breathing hard. He's tired. Am I tired? Oh no, I'm not tired. Like I'm having this conversation with myself.
Yeah.
Then I went forward once, and he ducked his head down with a jab, and then actually twice I lunged forward, and both times he ducked his head down. So the third time I threw the uppercut hook, and that was it.
That's awesome. It was such a good fight.
He had some of the best I've ever leg kicked. Probably was him. Ben leg kicked. Like he just had that kind of weird strength he has, which just sinks into your bones, man.
Who's one of the hardest hitters you fought?
Uh, yeah. That's not, you can't really say that. Everybody, like, like getting knocked out is more like being on the button than being a hard punch. But
I would say like a sustained power, like where this guy every time he hits me, okay, he's got my attention.
yeah, Masashi really tore up my face. Uh, uh, that was a fight I took on 8 Days Notice, and that's probably one of the toughest motherfuckers I ever fought. It's just like you see that look on his face that when you fight here for 15 minutes or whatever, you're just staring at the guy, looking for any kind of weakness, looking for any kind of tell. And some guys you'll see a little bit of break, and that'll give you a little hope or whatever. But looking at him across the ring for that whole 15 minutes round, it was nothing but him trying to finish me, and just he's probably.
Jesus.
I just felt his energy. He's probably the toughest guy I ever fought.
Wow, very cool. Yeah, and I gotta say, you fought a who's who, all former champions. I counted at least 10 to 11 of them. That's
Um,
insane. I mean, and that one stretch when you fought a murderer's row, Chuck Vanderlei, Brandon Vera, who was awesome. Like you said, Rampage, Bader, former champion. I mean, that's. I feel like now there isn't. How do I say this? No fight is easy. There's no easy fight. I understand that, but I mean, you were on a run of fighting the who's who. There was no let up with any fight where it was like, okay,
yeah, I had a couple that came through but I think both of them didn't um didn't happen. I'm trying to think of names. One thing I've noticed about my career is I had this experience. Actually, it was an Ibogaine experience, which is a whole other podcast.
yeah,
Um, um, and I really learned something about myself as far as fighting goes. Um, and it's with me in life too, is when I was in the UFC, every time that I was supposed to win, I would lose. And every time that I was supposed to lose, I would do really well. And it's just because I had that weird belief in myself and not belief in myself. It's really weird. Is like, um, we all think we're pretending, and we have imposter syndrome and all that.
mhm.
And I definitely felt that coming from a poor small town in Oregon, where I come from, and all that, not having the highest self-esteem. But at the same time, if you told me that guy's going to kick your ass, or you don't belong in the ring with that guy or whatever. Well, fuck you. You know what I mean? But how do you balance the two? But it was really that, like, if you put me in a position where, like, yes, easy fight, easy win, whatever. Houston Alexander is a good example of that. Like, no, I never did really well. That pressure,
Sure.
I never dealt with that pressure well. Like, and that's what acting in this new business taught me how to do. Yeah.
Well,
Awesome.
I'll tell you what,
Awesome.
Chuck, Rampage, Brandon, let's see their fucking scripts on a first read. I
Exactly.
want, you know, they
Hey,
might hit hard.
I encourage everybody to write though, and I bet they all have amazing stories, especially Rampage,
Oh yeah,
fighting in Japan, and oh my God, his whole life.
fucking great.
Yeah, Chuck too though. Chuck too, right? He was a Mike Tyson of the UFC for a while.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of crazy stories all these guys could tell.
Especially those. See, there's an error. There's something. Bonner told me this. That I forgot he had a word for it, but there's post season one of the reality show, and there's pre season one of the reality show. If you started fighting before season one, you're a different fighter than if you started fighting after season one. Because before you're just fighting because you want to test yourself, you want to fight other people that train in fighting, and you want to be a fighter. But it's not like I'm going to go be a superstar and make a lot of money. Like nobody had that illusion back then until Diego and Forrest and all that happened. And then after that is like young kids are starting to train. Like maybe John Jones saw that and was like, man, I'm going to be a UFC star. And then he did that instead of,
That was nice.
Yeah, I mean now kids are training for martial arts at 4 years old, 5 years old. I mean, it's insane.
or MMA. Yeah. Most UFC fighters, even back then, though, trained in like Taekwondo or something. That was beautiful, wasn't it? When the UFC first started, and everybody definitely had a different skill.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's kind of like what they designed it for, right? To see which discipline was the
that's it.
best,
That's
which
it.
one
And
stood
it's so
out.
cool to showcase jiu-jitsu, but
The concept of the UFC looks kind of like a movie, like
yeah,
people coming in from
Blood
all
sport.
different. Yeah, yeah, you know, or
Yeah.
or like a I know this it's a little different, but like remember Over the Top with Stallone?
Oh, fucking A, yeah.
All these dudes coming in to fucking one looked like like a hippie guy, a trucker guy, and this guy, they're all coming in with fucking guns. Let's go,
Dude, that's what the old the fights before you get back in the day, like you just show up. I did like this one in Phoenix, and you would just show up, and it'd just be like we would drive down the more yeah, we drove down the morning of the fight as a team, and like there's a big fight in the ring there and stuff like that, but you're not even matched up yet. They're just kind of see who is there and like, all right, you'll fight this guy, you fight this guy, and whatever, and they just go have their fights and record it.
That's amazing. Just to sit here and listen to you say about your self confidence and maybe not had it, like, but yet you're doing the fucking manliest thing possible is like fighting somebody. I think it's like it
Yeah.
seems like such a like conundrum, such a that's insane.
I think a lot of fighters are like that too, right? Like a lot of fighters come from a harsh background, like a lot of athletes and stuff too. And it was just like, and there's a big fuck you to fighting, and it's a fuck you to everybody else. If I want to prove to you that I'm somebody in life, like what better way to be a fighter? And it's probably more
Sure.
proving to themselves than anybody else, but that's definitely it.
Awesome. Well, listen, I thank you so much for spending some time with us. We would, once your movie's out, we would love to have you back on to chat it up because
yeah.
I'm actually very, very excited to see it. I appreciate you giving us the time. You had an amazing MMA career, and now it sounds like you're gonna have a more amazing career in the movies, doing what you love.
Let's go.
Tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Keep Jardine 205, and it's way more competitive and cutthroat. I tell you that. What I'm doing. Yeah, keep Jardine 205. I haven't been posting a lot, but I'm definitely I got investors that invested into me for this movie, so I'm going to really start promoting stuff and start posting stuff. So if you want to follow along with me on this ride, then keep Jardine 205 on Twitter and Instagram, but I'm really on Instagram. Thanks for
Awesome.
you guys reaching out to me. That's really great too. It was a good time.
We really appreciate it, and thank you so much, and good luck to the movie. We can't wait to see it, and we will 100% be in touch.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
Best of luck, brother.
Have a wonderful night.
All right.
Stay well. The great Keith Jardine.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Keith Jardine, or as I like to refer to him as, Hollywood Jardine. No. Nah, what a super cool dude. What a super cool dude,
Yeah.
bro. That's awesome, man. Write a movie like that. God, just putting yourself out there. That's just insane.
Yeah, it's so funny. He talked about maybe having like lack of confidence or not as outgoing, but like it doesn't like some people you feel that way. I know for myself, it'll keep you in your fucking locked in your room.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's and listen, he I feel like he downplayed the fighting aspect of it. Like, dude, you're going out there fighting in front of millions of people, like literally kill or be killed. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
holy shit. I mean, he's like, testing yourself. There's a different way to test yourself. I'm like, jog around the block, see if I can make it under a minute. But God
Well,
bless
Rock.
him, man. And that I'm so happy to hear about his career after fighting.
I know. What I kind of like respect about him is that he tells you straight up. He's like, he doesn't sound like he made millions from fighting.
Yeah, no, he's such a humble dude.
He needed to come back, and he's coming back at something fun. With something fun, something he loves, something he's passionate about, something that's creative, and he's putting all into it.
And you love seeing that too, because you do. In the back of my mind, listen, I love MMA, love it. In the back of my mind, I do worry about the guys and gals after they're done, because it's you hear about fighter pay, and you see he clearly told us about that money runs out. You worry about them. They put their lives on the line, their livelihoods, and their health on the line for our entertainment. We love it, but then what happens to them? It's much like how we support veterans, right?
Yeah.
They go fight the war for us, and then they come back, or better sure they're taken care of. So
correct. Well said, Rocco. Once in a while, well said.
I might write a script called "Archie's a Jerk Off."
With that being said, Rocco, what do you have to say to the people?
Yeah. If you just heard us talking to the Dean of Mean, you're smoking some green, listening to Queen, and you know those in 20s, them's is 10s, but you keep them clean, then you just listen to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
We out.